This is Nightline.
Tonight, shocking photos inside the Diddy trial. The disturbing images showing a bruised Cassie Ventura.
She said she would have to cover up with makeup or sunglasses before she went out in public.
And Cassie's former best friend, who said she too was assaulted by Combs, which he denied.
She said she was left with a concussion.
What she said ended their friendship. And more images of alleged freak-off supplies found during his arrest.
It had the strobe lighting. There was baby oil there. There was over $9,000 in cash inside of a fanny pack.
And which big-name celebrities were mentioned in court. Plus, the fight against revenge porn and deepfakes, from A-list celebrities to teenagers falling victim.
It was completely our image, just with a naked body on it, but he put it through an AI editing app.
Oh my goodness, this could go all over the world, which is why I just wouldn't stop.
One family's fight for change, ending victorious at the White House. What they say you should look out for. And why this coach was yelling at an 11-year-old player during a softball game. The girl and her mother speaking out.
From ABC News headquarters in New York, this is Nightline.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us. The second week of the trial of Sean Diddy Combs opened with explosive allegations from the former best friend of Combs' now ex-girlfriend, Cassie Ventura, who says that she too was assaulted by the mogul, who denies all charges. And just a warning, this story contains accounts, descriptions, and visual content of actual or alleged events that some may find disturbing. More revelations in a Manhattan courtroom today as the sex trafficking and racketeering trial of mogul Sean Diddy Combs entered its sixth day of testimony. He denies all charges. Singer Don Richard taking the stand and testifying about an alleged 2010 incident in a Los Angeles restaurant where she says other celebrities were present. Prosecutors asking what happened at the restaurant. Richard saying Mr. Combs punched Cassie in the stomach. When the defense got its turn, they asked Richard about who was allegedly there. The defense saying, please recall those celebrities now. Don Richard testified Usher was there. Jimmy Iovine was there. Neo came through. There were a few others, too. Further pressing Richard, the defense asking her why she hadn't mentioned those celebrities when questioned about the incident before. The defense asked any reason why you left those individuals out when the government asked you the question. Richard replied, she just asked me who was there, adding, I'm not sure. ABC News reached out to Usher, Iovine, and Neo, and has not heard back yet. Don Richard was a member of Danity Kane, an all-girls group assembled by Combs with hits like Showstopper. Later, Richard joined the R&B trio Diddy Dirty Money alongside Combs himself and released songs like Coming Home.
Dawn Richard spoke in a very soft voice, and she talked about having to almost placate Sean Combs during the relationship. She was so scared that she would anger him or run afoul of him because she said he threatened her to keep quiet about some of the violence she said she witnessed.
Richard told the jury she witnessed Combs injure Ventura's face, eyes, lip, arm, and knee over a number of alleged incidents. One time he punched her with a closed fist, she testified. Also testifying that when she advised Cassie to leave Combs, he would say, stay the expletive out of my relationship. Richard went on to testify that she felt threatened, saying, it was always you do this or else something bad will happen to you.
The defense said Dawn Richard had changed her account, particularly about an alleged incident where she said that she saw Sean Combs take a swing at Cassie Ventura with a frying pan. And the defense confronted her with some of her interviews by prosecutors where the story and the details seemed to change. Once, twice, a third time, up to 4 times, Dawn Richard was left saying she recalled the best she could.
For the first time, prosecutors also releasing a trove of photos that they say show the aftermath of the alleged violence suffered by Cassie.
These are the startling images of the abuse that Cassie Ventura said she suffered at the hands of Sean Combs, and now the public can see them. The bruising on her eye, her leg, her back, the bruises she said she would have to cover up with makeup or sunglasses before she went out in public.
Other photos showing what authorities say was found in Combs' hotel room right after his arrest late last year, including ketamine, baby oil, Astroglide, and $9,000 in cash. One photo showing Combs in a room lit with red, the way that Ventura described the freak-offs. Another witness that took the stand today, Cassie's former best friend, Carrie Morgan.
Miss Morgan was the best friend of Cassie Ventura for over 10 years. So she no longer talks to Cassie Ventura, but what she was able to offer to this jury is additional testimony.
Cassie's seen in this video while Sean Combs is beating and dragging her after she allegedly tried to escape a freak-off in a Los Angeles hotel back in 2016. Prosecutors say Cassie snapped this selfie in an Uber after she'd left the hotel, showing a fat lip. Sean Combs allegedly arriving at Cassie's residence about 30 minutes later, Morgan testifying. He was hitting the door with a hammer to try to open it.
Miss Morgan was able to tell us at least that the police came to the location. They attempted to talk to Cassie, but that Cassie did not want to speak.
Morgan testifying that in 2018, Combs allegedly got violent towards her too, saying, "He came up behind me and choked me. Then when I got away, he boomeranged a wooden hanger on my head and demanded that she tell him who Cassie was cheating on him with."
Morgan said Sean Combs assaulted her, threw a wooden hanger at her, and she said she was left with a concussion. And about a month later, she and Cassie Ventura were at a pizza place discussing it. And that's when Carrie Morgan said Cassie Ventura told her she would give her $30,000 to sign a non-disclosure agreement. That is what Carrie Morgan said ended the friendship.
Morgan testifies she took the money and signed the non-disclosure agreement. Inside the courtroom, Combs had two friends by his side. While outside the courtroom, Don Richard's attorney, Lisa Bloom, talked to the press.
I'm very proud to represent Dawn Richard. I think she's very brave, and she wanted to do the right thing and come and testify, and that's why she's here.
Richard is suing Combs in civil court, accusing him of sexual battery, forced labor, gender-motivated violence, hostile work environment, and copyright infringement. Combs' lawyers have denied the allegations and filed a motion to dismiss on Friday. Tuesday's witnesses will include more testimony from Combs' former assistant, as well as Sheree Hayes, a male escort known as the Punisher, along with Cassie Ventura's mother. And if you or someone you know is a victim of domestic violence and you need help, please call the Domestic Abuse Hotline at 1-800-799-7233 or go to the website, thehotline.org. For more on this story, watch Impact by Nightline, Diddy on Trial, now streaming on Hulu, and Hulu on Disney+. When we come back, meet a teen whose ordinary vacation picture was AI'd into a nude photo that went viral at her school. She and her family fought back. Welcome back. Imagine an ordinary selfie you posted on social media going viral. But in that photo, you're now naked. Experts say these so-called deepfakes are reaching epidemic proportions. But thanks to one brave teenager from Texas and her family, perpetrators can now be brought to justice. Here's ABC's Rachel Scott.
Ellison Berry and her mother Anna never imagined they would be here.
We are at the White House today, and we were invited for the Take It Down bill, the signing of that.
Witnessing the president signing a new law that could have saved her from a nightmare.
I was a victim of AI crimes. It means a lot that there is now a bill being implemented that will protect people and protect any sort of teenager or child in a situation similar to mine.
The 16-year-old was a victim of an AI-generated nude photo known as a deepfake, posted by a classmate that spread like wildfire at her high school. It's an issue that can impact anyone.
Some of the earliest victims of non-consensual deepfake pornography were female celebrities.
Last year, AI-generated fake nude images of pop megastar Taylor Swift went viral online. The fake images viewed tens of millions of times before the account that posted them was suspended. Wonder Woman actress Gal Gadot was the victim of a deepfake video. In 2017, her face was superimposed on an adult film actress's body. And Wednesday star Jenna Ortega was also a victim of AI-generated images that depicted her as nude.
We've needed a law against this kind of abuse for a really long time. We now have this entire cottage industry of applications and websites that now invite people, solicit people to actually submit innocuous photos of individuals and produce these sexually explicit, manipulated kinds of images. And it's really become an epidemic.
1 in 8 adult American users of social media have been victimized by non-consensual pornography.
This bill really is meant to protect people, and that's really all that matters.
Now Ellison is one of the driving forces behind the Take It Down Act, the federal law that criminalizes non-consensual real and fake intimate images, including revenge porn.
Ellison, your voice and the voices of so many like you made this bill a national priority.
We will not tolerate online sexual exploitation, and especially it's gone on at levels that nobody's ever seen before.
What was it like for you to be here and to see this bill be signed into law?
To actually get images off the internet, to make the internet safer for people, is something that does not happen, and it actually happened today. So it's really an incredible moment.
So this is momentous legislation. This is the first federal criminal provision that directly speaks to the problem of image-based sexual abuse, both in the terms of authentic images being disclosed without consent, as well as sexually explicit digital forgeries, which are deepfakes.
The law, receiving bipartisan, nearly unanimous support, also requires social media platforms to remove the content within 48 hours of being notified. It was October 2023 when Ellison woke up to find out a nude image of her was circulating on Snapchat.
It was completely our image, just with a naked body on it, but he put it through an AI editing app which created that derogatory photo. I knew that it wasn't real, but to another classmate or another student or even a predator that had seen these images, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference.
Ellison, who lives just outside Dallas in Aledo, Texas, and was just a freshman at the time, says she was mortified.
I was notified of these images on a Monday, and by Tuesday night, I was told my entire school had seen them. So this is completely my worst nightmare. So I was crying my eyes out. I seriously didn't even want to get out of my bedroom. So walking around school, feeling vulnerable, feeling so helpless, that was the lowest state in my life.
She finally told her mother, who became her daughter's biggest crusader.
Not knowing who had seen these pictures and what were people doing with the pictures. So it was very hard, just in my brain thinking, oh my goodness, this could go all over the world. So it was very, very important to try to get somebody to listen, which is why I just wouldn't stop.
I didn't want these going around, and I would hope that it would just completely disappear, but unfortunately that's not reality.
We just contacted all the social media that we could. We filled out forms, we tried to call, there's not really a number to call, emailed, just trying to get somebody to listen to help take it down, but we never got any responses.
When no one was able to take us seriously and no one knew what to do, it was extremely discouraging. Everyone felt hopeless.
Snapchat is supportive of the new law. In a statement to ABC News, the company saying in part, any activity that involves the sexual exploitation of a minor is abhorrent, illegal, and prohibited by our community guidelines. We remove such content either when we detect it or when it's reported to us, adding, in this instance, however, it does not appear the alleged images were reported to us. If we had been notified, we would have taken the content and reported it to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children.
I kind of took this role on as kind of my other job. I was going to get somebody to listen to me no matter what, the mama bear in me. But I was going to make sure that somebody, heard.
They faced an uphill battle until Senator Ted Cruz's office responded. They began to work together on a solution.
I realized that it isn't just at us that this happened to. It's not just statewide. It's globally.
First Lady Melania Trump endorsed the bill as part of her anti-cyberbullying efforts, meeting with the families at a roundtable in March.
In an era where digital interactions are integral to daily life, it is imperative that we safeguard children from mean-spirited and hurtful online behavior.
Also advocating for the bill, families whose loved ones fell victim to sex extortion. In 2022, South Carolina State Representative Brandon Guffey lost his teen son Gavin to suicide.
We quickly found out that he was being extorted online, that someone pretending to be a young female at another college requested images to be shared back and forth, and as soon as he shared those images, he took his life. It was an hour and 40 minutes from the time that he was contacted until the time that he took his life.
Under the new law, a violation is a criminal offense and could come with prison time and a fine. But some experts say the law is not clear enough and has concerning loopholes.
It really isn't realistically possible for them to simply take down every request that they get within 48 hours. It's going to be really difficult from the perspective of the actual website or the platform to be able to figure out which ones are frivolous complaints and which ones are real complaints.
Are there challenges? Will there be hurdles in actually implementing this?
Yeah, but I'm confident that tech can figure it out. Their whole mantra is sort of big, move fast and break things. This is an opportunity to move fast and heal things, the opportunity to make things better.
Ellison hopes that telling her story will make things better as well.
I have referred to myself as a victim, and I mean that in the vulnerable sense that I was in, and I felt helpless. We are no longer victims, we're survivors of this. I feel a sense of responsibility, but also I feel a sense of justice. That's really been what's pushing me, is the fact that if I can't change my fate, I can change other people's fate.
Our thanks to Rachel. When we come back, meet the 11-year-old softball player who was yelled at during a game because of her height. And finally tonight, caught in the Game Changer app, filed this under coaches behaving badly. Here's ABC's Rebecca Jarvis.
A shocking moment caught on video when coaches accused a child of being too old to compete.
I want to see birth certificates when this game's done.
The target of that shouting? Brinley Stevens, an 11-year-old softball player from Astoria, Oregon. She just hit a line drive when coaches from the opposing team stormed the field and began questioning her age in front of everyone in the stands.
I was holding back my tears because I was like, oh my gosh, she's out there by herself. There's these two adults are confronting her. Thank God that our coach was there to step in between.
Brinley is a 5th grader who stands nearly 5 feet 10 inches tall. She and all the kids in her league have to prove their age before they join a team.
It was like scary, them like coming at me.
Following the verbal exchange, Brinley's mom says the opposing team coaches continued the behavior, making obscene gestures towards the parents when the game ended. One assistant coach has been suspended for the year, and another was suspended for 10 days with probation for the year. The tournament organizers writing to ABC, "We are still investigating the incident. The player did nothing wrong, as she is just tall and skilled for her age."
It doesn't take much to hurt a kid that much and make them just stop believing in themselves. All these kids deserve better. We as adults need to do better.
Our thanks to Rebecca. That's Nightline for this evening. Catch our full episodes on Hulu and Hulu on Disney+. We'll see you right back here same time tomorrow. Thanks for the company, America. Good night.